Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're on Gloves Off with Johnny, and thank you for joining again. Yeah, I want to discuss about Zuffa boxing. Originally we thought it was gonna be UFC model. Well, essentially it is. That's what it is. But it looks like they have slightly different things that are gonna be able to happen. It looks like there's gonna be some cross promoting, because recently a reporter asked Dana White if Zuffa boxers can fight on the Ring magazine cards, and he just said yes. So, this is a lot. Had me thinking, like, what's really gonna happen with this Zuffa boxing? How is this gonna grow? How is this gonna grow into, you know, I don't think it's gonna be like a UFC model from what I can tell. I think the fact that Turkey has his hands in Zuffa boxing, I think gives it more flexibility. And I know Dana White, he's a really stubborn guy. He wants to only Zuffa boxers can fight each other, But I think him saying yes to this, that doesn't sound like a Dana White, wanting to say yes. He looked like he didn't really even wanted to agree to that. But I think this is something that Turkey Al-Sheikh has his hands in. It's kind of interesting because on the Ring magazine cards, there's all type of promotional companies working for those Ring magazine cards that are bringing those fights together. And essentially it sounds like Zuffa boxing is open to working with these companies if they have the Ring magazine belt. But I don't think they are open to work with any other sanctioning bodies, like the WBC, WBA, IBF, whatever, blase. But then I got to thinking, they just signed Jay Opetaia, an Australian boxer in the cruiserweight, currently holds the Ring magazine belt as well as the IBF. He has a fight coming up in March, and he was wanting to unify his titles. I know he was having trouble fighting with Zurdo Ramirez, because of politics. You know how it is in boxing. But then he signed to Zuffa boxing. And what does this mean for his IBF belt? I'm assuming as soon as he has his next fight, he loses it, he gets stripped. So with Zuffa boxing allowing to cross promote with their fighters on the Ring magazine cards, essentially, I like this idea, honestly. Because, look, not the best fighters are going to be in Zuffa boxing. It's not like the UFC, where the UFC, all the best fighters in the MMA are in the UFC, essentially. Boxing has been established for a while, and look, they already have their superstar fighters that Zuffa boxing hasn't even made. Zuffa boxing hasn't even made superstar fighters. They have to sign some outside. So I like the idea that they're able to cross promote, because you're putting the best in the best. That's what Dana White is all about. Let's fight the best. So come on, we'll put your money where your mouth is and allow that to happen. I'm happy he's allowing that to happen. I know that's Turkey Al-Sheikh. His hands are in this thing. But regardless what it is, it's great for boxing. It's great for the fans. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see what this brings, how this looks, and how Zuffa boxing ends up growing. Because now they just look like any other promotional company that's working with other promotional companies. So it's interesting. And Dana White was essentially, you could tell, it looks like it's not his idea, and he wants to stay in house. He wants Zuffa boxing to stay in house. He don't even want to honor the other sanctioning bodies. He doesn't want to work with them. He just wants to have the Zuffa belt and the Ring magazine belt, because Turkey Al-Sheikh is involved. So this is important. Turkey Al-Sheikh is an important, figure into this whole thing, because he's also working with the other sanctioning bodies, working with the other outside promoters, as well as working with Zuffa boxing. He's an investor in Zuffa boxing. He's part owner, and yeah. So this is an interesting conversation to be having, and I just feel like Zuffa boxing is at its beginning stages. I feel like they don't know what's gonna happen. Everything's just now playing out And I think they're gonna start solidifying things slowly after each event. After each event, they're gonna start realizing like what works, what doesn't work. I mean, I think this means cross promoting events, which is great because Zuffa boxing is probably it's a newcomer, it's a new baby, and I see them growing a lot because they keep signing fighters, keep signing well-known fighters. On top of that, like they're signing big fighters already, and they just now begun. And what does this mean for Jai Opetaia? What does this mean for his career? Can he unify, even though he's with Zuffa boxing? Is he able to fight in Zuffa boxing and then get out of Zuffa boxing and fight on the Ring magazine cards for the other titles? We don't know, but let's find out. Thank you guys for joining another episode of Gloves Off with Johnny. Peace and love.